Hello, welcome back to heARTwork Creations. It is officially spooky season. So in this episode, I'll be showing you how I put together this skeleton face paint slash body paint look. I created this look a couple years ago and I decided I wanted to film it because I got a lot of good feedback, so I figured it would make for a pretty cool YouTube video. And it's also not that hard. It is time consuming, but it's really easy to put together and you can use clothes that you already have. You don't really have to buy anything but black and white face paint. So yeah, let's take a sip of this Modelo and get right into it. Here is a picture of what it looked like maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. So to prep my face, I'm gonna spray my face with some Mario Badescu spray just to hydrate it a little bit. I'm not gonna apply anything else because I don't want it to affect the face paint, and that way it'll just grip right onto my skin. So here is the Wolfe Hydrocolor white face paint. It's a water activated paint, so I just like to spray a couple of sprays of water onto it, and then I have found recently that applying it with a beauty blender has been the most efficient for me. I used to use a synthetic foundation brush, but it was kind of leaving like streaks and stuff, so with the sponge it allows me to just stipple it on and it blends in nicely. But it's really important to apply the paint and not go over it, so just apply it pretty thickly and just keep moving on. Don't reapply over, if not it'll kind of leave marks. So you want to apply it as even as possible the first time around. So as you can see, since I'm starting with the white, I'm just gonna apply it only in the areas that I know I'm going to leave white. So I'm not gonna apply it around the eye sockets or under the cheekbones, and pretty much just everywhere else. I like to feel around on my bone structure to feel where my actual bone would be. And I really like this brand of paint because once it sets, it dries matte and it doesn't rub around or feel all itchy. So you want to make sure not to sweat or get any water on it after, because it could run. So if you do sweat, it's better to just pat, don't rub. And now we are moving on to the black part of the skeleton. So I'm also using the same Wolfe paint but in black. So I'll go ahead and spray a little bit of water onto it, and then I'm going to be using a small synthetic brush, and I'm going to carve out my eye sockets. I like to cover my brow and then just go right underneath my eye. I don't like to go too far down. We want to keep the eye sockets as realistically sized as possible, and then I do them kind of round but rectangular, not too circular or squared. And I ended up getting a smaller lip brush to make the lines more precise and clean. Sorry, I kind of covered the eye with my mirror. And first I outline both eyes and then I'll go back to fill it in. And with the same small lip brush, I will draw out my nose. So I keep it mostly right at the tip of my nose and then bring 2 lines going upwards to create the nostrils. They're more like little points actually. For this part, I grabbed a small eyeliner brush to make the points nice and sharp. So next I'll be carving out the cheekbone area, so I will do my best to follow my own natural bone structure. And I try to also mimic my jawline and then have it end right at the ears, because later on I will be shading all of that in with some black and a eyeshadow brush. And I'm just trying to get both sides as even as possible. And once I carve out my jawline, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of blend downwards to shadow out under my jaw on the double chin area. And I swapped back to a bigger brush for that part. And then I went back and filled in my eye sockets. I didn't get too close to my actual eye with the black paint. For this, I used my BlackTrack Fluidline eyeliner by MAC and a small eyeshadow brush. And I just went really close to my lash line and on my waterline to really black out my eyes. Next, I will be moving on to my favorite part, the teeth. So I start by filling in the center of my lips with some black and a small lip brush, and then I drag 2 lines outwards, one from one side of my lips going towards the center of the hollows of the cheek area, and then one on the other side. And then after that, I start by drawing a thin line right in the center of my lips to act as a guide of the center of the teeth. And I'm using a small eyeliner brush. You want to make sure you have a very thin, precise brush for this step. And then I just start to draw the teeth. I do them a little curved at the bottom. I don't like them super sharp looking. So I kind of do like a teardrop type shape, but I just let the line kind of flow upward, and I kind of do different directions so that they don't look so perfect. And then towards the end, I make them a little bit wider to mimic molars. And then I use that same technique for the bottom row of teeth as well, except of course I'm dragging the lines downward. Once I draw out the teeth, I start to shade in the center of each tooth to make the root appear more defined. Once the teeth are finished, I will fill in the hollows of the cheeks. And I'm using a little bit of a bigger brush to fill that part in. And then to finish off the face portion of this look, I'm just gonna add some cracks around the eyes and some on the forehead, around the jawline, and also add a couple of lines around the eyes and the jaw to just give it some more definition. And then I'll add some shading with my Ben Nye Essentials eyeshadow palette and a small eyeshadow brush. So I'm just shading out the hairline around the ears, and then adding some shadowing to the nose, and just anywhere I feel like it needs a little more definition. Now that the face is complete, I'll move on to the chest area and the neck area. So I'll go ahead and remove my jacket. And then I just start creating the neck, spine bones, and the collarbones, and just all that area, the rib cage. And again, I'm starting with the white portion first, and then moving on to the black to shade everything in. And here I'm using a bigger foundation brush. And once the white portion is finished, I start to shade everything in with another big foundation brush and the black paint, and just start to fill in all of that negative space. And you are going to probably have to go over it a couple of times to really make it dark. I didn't make it too dark because I had work later on that day and I didn't want to have to scrub the hell out of my skin. But yeah, I definitely recommend going over these areas a couple of times to really make it dark. And then I went in with a smaller lip brush to really define those bones. And then I added a couple of lines and definition with other brushes too. And now that my chest and neck area is complete, I'll go ahead and throw my jacket back on and move on to my hands. And throughout this process, I've been constantly spraying my paint to reactivate it. So I'll go ahead and do that again before starting with my hands. And here I'm using a medium-sized brush and just starting to draw out the bones of my hands. It's basically 3 thick lines throughout the fingers, and then later I'll go back with my black paint to define the joints and all of the other little parts of the bones. And I'm doing the knuckles and the fingertip areas, all that good stuff. Of course, doing my right hand is a little more tricky because I am right-handed, but it just takes some time and patience. So I'm using a bigger brush for all the black area to make it quicker to shade in, and then I grab my small lip brush to define the bones better, and then I add the detailing. And now that my hands are finished, this look is complete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to creating some more Halloween looks. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, make sure to give me some feedback down below. Go ahead and give it a like, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you in the next video.